Does anyone remember the time when Florida State Attorney Jack Thompson tried to get the Rockstar game Bully banned from shelves nationwide before the game was even finished? Yeah, Bully, you know, that super violent game set in high school.
Make the schools into total chaos.
The game was right, teaching them the right things, how to go back to school and defend itself, kill people, kill other students.
Whether you believed all the hype back then regarding Rockstar's Bully, I believe we can all agree that the game did ignite some strong feelings regarding the depiction of violence in video games and other popular forms of media. Within this retrospective, let's examine what makes Bully one of Rockstar's most controversial games. And if you haven't by now, go ahead and subscribe to Smoking Fiend Productions.
Tell us about Bully and what you all are trying to do to
Well, Bully
thwart that.
is a new game that the makers of Grand Theft Auto, Rockstar, they put a new game out in October called Bully. And after Columbine, after what happened in the Red Lake, Minnesota school and Ballou Senior High School, they coming out with a game where children can beat their teachers up. Children can beat their classmates up.
These are things that are depicted in the game.
In the game, right. You can form rival gangs against each other to turn their school into chaos and a lot of other things that they haven't even put out in the game yet. And this is coming out in October.
All this sounds pretty fun, right? Well, at one point in our nation's history, Bully was actually condemned as one of the most offensive games ever made by Rockstar, which, given the growing controversy of GTA games by 2005, that was saying a lot. Prior to the Bully controversy, there was the case of Devin Moore of Fayette, Alabama, a teenager who killed 2 police officers and a dispatcher while in custody for suspicion of stealing a car. It was reported that Devin compulsively played GTA Vice City, and leading a massive lawsuit against Rockstar Games, Take-Two Interactive, and several large retailers was Jack Thompson, the Florida state lawyer, who was filing a lawsuit on behalf of the families that were affected personally by Devin Moore.
Moore was, in effect, trained to do what he did. He was given a murder simulator. He bought it as a minor. He played it hundreds of hours, which is primarily a cop-killing game.
Thompson's overall argument was that the video game violence depicted in GTA Vice City motivated Devin Moore to commit these acts. Naturally, he lost this case and was even removed for misconduct from the judge himself. But the Devin Moore case did work to bring more heat on Take-Two Interactive and Rockstar Games. And working on that momentum, Jack Thompson would lead a campaign and legal suit to ban Bully before it was even finished in the same year. To do this, Thompson sought out the aid of a DC-based activist group known as the Peaceaholics, led by Ronald Moulton. His group and Thompson were the subjects of many news stories. In each of these stories, Moulton and Thompson would state false facts and details about the game.
We're going to return to New York to address the makers of Grand Theft Auto. These people have put out games that are detrimental to our community, where they teach children how to be criminals, how to kill police officers, how to degrade women.
In some instances, Thompson even called the game a Columbine simulator. A bit of a stretch considering that only a few screenshots of the game had been leaked at the time. And of course, this didn't keep Thompson and the Peaceaholic group from organizing a massive protest right outside the studios of Rockstar Games in New York City. Thompson and the Peaceaholics even went as far as to write a list of demands to Rockstar directly. Under these demands, Rockstar Games was not to release Bully by any circumstances whatsoever. They also had to sell their adult games in adult video stores only. Additionally, they had to allow parents to return GTA games for full refunds until they did a national awareness campaign to educate parents on violent video games. And to add insult to injury, they also had to create a fund for the victims of unauthorized motor vehicle use and carjackings. Yeah, you know, Grand Theft Auto. Further throughout the year, Thompson would bug Take-Two and Rockstar to the point of demanding a copy of Bully before it was even released to the public. He did this under a public nuisance complaint filed in Florida. And at the end of the day, Take-Two and Rockstar bent to his will. In October of 2006, Thompson and Florida judge Ronald Friedman sat down and played an early copy of Rockstar's Bully. Friedman noted that the game did not feature any obscene content that was not already on late-night television. But Thompson didn't see it that way. Not only did he disagree with the judge, but he proceeded to verbally attack him as well.
I see you've met the dorm's mascot. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Femboy, the girliest boy in school. Petey, haven't you got some imaginary friends to go annoy? Why don't you leave me alone, Gary?
Despite Thompson's best effort, Bully would be released and met with positive reviews. But due to the overall production cost of the game, Rockstar was only able to release the game for the PlayStation 2 and not the Xbox. Of course, that didn't keep Jackie Boy from emailing Bill Gates, the CEO of Microsoft, to not release Bully on the Xbox. Maybe it goes without saying, but Bully as a game doesn't encourage you to be a bully or commit violent acts for mere enjoyment, despite having the option to do so if you like. Rather, just like the GTA games, Bully leaves it to the player to decide what to do. And just like in the GTA games, you don't always have to act on your worst inclinations, most of the time anyway.
Got a good idea for some fun. Let's go out and torment someone really helpless and unfortunate.
Developed by Rockstar Vancouver and published by Take-Two Interactive, Bully was an open-world action game released in 2006. Despite this being a Rockstar game, Bully lacked the violence characterized by many GTA games and a few other Rockstar titles. Under the T for T rating set by the ESRB, Bully was kind of a condensed version of GTA Vice City. It didn't have the blood or gun violence that gamers enjoyed, but it did offer a rich story, various side missions, and interesting gameplay mechanics. And the game would be popular enough upon release to sell over 1.5 million copies, along with having re-releases for the Xbox 360, PC, and Wii. In Bully, you play as the rough but lovable delinquent Jimmy Hopkins, and as Jimmy, your basic goal is to gain control over Bulworth Academy, a private and morally corrupt school dominated by the cliché school fashions that we've come to love. You have the snobby and entitled preps, the weak and socially distant nerds, the brawny but brain-dead jocks, and the John Travolta-looking greasers. Within the game, you complete a multitude of missions for each faction, and each time you do this, you run the risk of pissing off one or more factions depending on whom you're completing the mission for. Throughout the game, you also find yourself completing some missions for the Bulworth staff as well. In most cases, you'll find yourself doing some pretty terrible things. For example, one mission will have you raiding a girls' dorm for used panties.
Great! So go and collect all the dirty laundry from the, girls' dorm. Okay.
In another one, you'll be stashing whiskey bottles for your alcoholic English teacher.
You okay, sir?
Jimmy. No, I'm not okay. I'm half drunk and I'm about to get fired. Fantastic!
And in another mission, you'll find yourself helping the creepy cafeteria lady seduce the chemistry teacher through illicit means.
But every time I get a look at his bald head and manic eyes, I go all gooey inside.
Okay, that's enough information. Thanks.
Much of the game's premise revolves around carrying out pranks against various factions and defending weaker kids on the campus.
Bucky went to the auto shop to get some parts for his science projects. He hasn't come back yet. I think he might be in trouble. Please?
Why don't you go yourself?
I've got homework. Okay, I'm frightened. And I've got a weak bladder.
In addition, you also must attend regular classes. Well, it's recommended anyway. If you do decide to skip class, just keep in mind that you are a high school student and truancy is a crime. By doing this, you'll be under the radar of prefects and local law enforcement, all dedicated to ruining your fun. Your best bet at the end of the day is to just go to class. The classes in the game serve as mini-games that represent some function of the related subject. Anytime you complete a course, you have a chance to level up your abilities. For example, by passing English class, you become better at giving insults and apologies. If you can ace your chemistry class, you get a chem kit and replenishable items like stink bombs and itching powder. For a violent video game, Bully sure does encourage you to stay in school and attend classes on a regular basis. I found the mini-games for the classes to be really enjoyable, along with being pretty challenging at times. And when you're not performing missions or attending class, you can typically find a variety of tasks and jobs to keep you entertained. You can pull off a variety of pranks for fun and profits by looking for the blue X's on the map. At the same time, you can work on regular jobs as well, as indicated by the green cast sign. My favorite part of Bully is the fact that Rockstar made you pay attention to the time of the day, Particularly the day and night cycle in the game is pretty well done and forces you to complete missions and jobs in a timely manner. It also forces you to make Jimmy go to bed. If he stays out all night, he'll pass out and sleep wherever he lands. In some instances, the time of the day could determine if you can complete certain missions or not. And if you ever feel too tired to get back on your own, you can catch a bus or get busted for violating curfew. Seriously, they just take you right back to school. So, is Bully an offensive game that promotes violence and a disregard for authority?
You keep that nose clean, boy, or I shall clean it myself.
Absolutely, and Rockstar did a great job in implementing just about everything this game has to offer. You really do feel like a badass rebel while playing. Even though Bully isn't as graphic or obscene as some of Rockstar's other releases, it feels right at home with games like Vice City or San Andreas and giving the player the feeling of independence. Yes, it does promote attacking fellow students and engaging in reckless behavior, but the thing about that is, it's a freaking video game. Regardless of how violent it is, not every kid or teenager is going to go out and commit crimes after playing it. Believe it or not, Ronald Moulton and Jack Thompson, most kids know the difference between real life violence and video games. Anyway, Bully has a deep message conveyed throughout the duration of playing it, if you didn't notice. It's the fact that bullies can come in all forms.
I was wondering if you'd show up, Hopkins. Nice aquaberry sweater. Trey chic. Yeah, wow. You look a bit like my gardener at home. Yeah, so what? Yes, well, enough about gardeners or any domestic help. Listen.
And many of the missions in Bully actually have you defending weaker kids and adults against bullies. At no time do you ever form gangs or attack teachers who don't deserve it, despite what Ronald Moulton will believe.
To total chaos.
And wonder if this guy ever actually got to play Bully. Who knows? I do know, however, that Moulton was involved in a scandal where he actually diverted city funds for his own personal use under the name of the Peaceaholics. And as for Jack Thompson, well, he would eventually be disbarred from practicing law altogether. And at the end of the day, what do you call a guy like Jack Thompson? Well, as a guy who claimed to be the Batman in regards to protecting people's rights, he didn't value the First Amendment all too much. Particularly, he exploited the emotional trauma of several public shooting instances in his attempts to regulate the video game industry. At the end of the day, he was a guy who used his position to pressure Rockstar and other video game companies to bend to his will. Well, I would call that guy a bully. That's right, Jack Thompson, the guy who tried to get Bully banned from stores nationwide before it was even released, was at the end of the day a bully. Reminded us that bullying can come in all shapes and sizes. It's not always the big kid who wants to take your lunch money. Sometimes it's the opinionated jerk who wipes his ass with the Constitution. If anything, Bully is a reminder to stand up to bullies no matter how much they pressure or intimidate you. Well, that concludes this retrospective of Rockstar's Bully. Thank you for watching, and make sure you check out my daily live streams. Stay beautiful out there, y'all.
To total chaos.